The vertical speed mode is engaged by pressing the vertical speed switch. When the mode is initially engaged, the window shows the existing vertical speed. The display range is from a negative 8,000 feet to a positive 6,000 feet per minute. Zeros will be displayed in two situations: when the vertical speed mode is engaged during takeoff or go-around with a negative vertical speed existing, and when vertical speed is engaged during altitude capture or altitude hold. When the vertical speed mode is engaged, the vertical speed selector can be used to command a desired climb or descent rate for the aircraft. However, you should first set a new altitude for alerting purposes. As mentioned previously, vertical speed is also a default mode that engages automatically in certain situations, such as selecting an autopilot in command without a pitch mode engaged. And finally, during level flight, the vertical speed mode can be used to make small adjustments in altitude without changing the MCP altitude. However, be cautious when you do, since it is possible to fly away from the selected altitude. Now let's discuss altitude alerting. Altitude alerting occurs when the MCP selected altitude is approached or departed. The alert light on each altimeter illuminates when the aircraft approaches 750 feet of the MCP altitude. When the aircraft is within 250 feet, the alert light extinguishes. Deviation of 250 feet or more from the selected altitude illuminates the altitude alert light and initiates an ICAS caution alert. The alert is cancelled by returning to within 250 feet or by selecting a new altitude. The ICAS caution alert is inhibited when the landing gear is down and locked. Now let's move on to the Flight Director Takeoff. The Flight Director Takeoff mode can only be engaged on the ground with all autopilots disengaged. Switching on a Flight Director automatically engages the takeoff mode, which the associated ADI enunciates for both pitch and roll. The command bars also appear, with the pitch bar indicating approximately 8 degrees nose up and the roll bar centered. Now let's look at a normal takeoff profile. One of two roll modes are commonly used during a Flight Director takeoff: takeoff or heading hold. Usually, heading hold mode is used, which is engaged when aligned with the runway prior to the takeoff roll. During the takeoff roll, the pitch bar continues to indicate 8 degrees nose up with the roll bar centered. At liftoff, if heading hold is engaged, the roll bar commands the existing heading. If the roll mode is takeoff, the roll bar will command the bank necessary to maintain the existing ground track. Also at liftoff, the pitch bar commands the greater of selected V2 speed plus 15 knots or actual liftoff speed. Should engine failure occur during takeoff, the pitch bar will command one of three speeds at takeoff: the selected V2 if the existing speed is less than that value, or the existing speed if between V2 and V2 plus 15 knots, or V2 plus 15 knots if the existing speed is higher than that value. The next MCP inputs normally occur at 1,000 feet AGL. You should first select flight level change for engagement. This terminates the takeoff mode and engages pitch in the speed mode. Next, set VREF 30 plus 80 knots, 215 in this example. Then, if desired, engage an autopilot in command. The next step, selecting climb thrust, depends on the particular aircraft. On most 757s, climb thrust must be selected on the thrust mode select panel. And finally, if required, the VNAV and LNAV modes are engaged next, which is covered in the FMS lesson. Now try a short exercise.